Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. Merriam-Webster's Merriam-Webster's online dictionary changes its definition of sexual preference as Barrett gets called out for using the term. Beginning Wednesday, the fifth definition for sexual preference included the word offensive. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. After that very curious and interesting and brilliant woman, I'm lying about the last part, senator from Hawaii, who embarrassed herself multiple times in the Kavanaugh hearings and thought she was Deckard from Blade Runner and asking all these questions. Have you ever sexually assaulted anyone? It's like I'm waiting for Rachel to say back, is this a test to see if I'm an android or to see if I'm a lesbian? Yeah, it was right up that alley of like, good Lord. And how could the same islands that elected Tulsi Gabbard, who is a very decent human being, to say the least, also elect this woman, Senator Hirano? Holy moly, Hawaii, come on. Get your voting stuff together. Get rid of this woman. You've got to have somebody on that island better than her. And it's not like Tulsi's got a job anymore, so bring Tulsi over and make her your senator. Bring some, respect to yourself. Merriam-Webster's dictionary changed its definition of sexual preference to include the word offensive, as the Democrats invented the new insult and slammed the Supreme Court nominee, Coney Barrett, for using the term during Tuesday's Senate confirmation hearing. So it took less than 24 hours for Webster to go, oh wait, we want to be politically correct as fast as possible. Prior to Tuesday, the fifth definition listed for preference referred to orientation, as in, sexual preference. So they were called out as Senator Hirano made it up. It's like I've been complaining forever. How in the heck did our society allow the term people of color to be acceptable, but not colored people, when grammatically there's no difference? And it's the same situation here. If you're going to say sexual preference is derogatory, then you're doomed, because whether you selected it or not, it's still your preference. Not all preferences are innate. Not all innate. It doesn't matter if it's innate or not. It's still your preference. Like, you could do the genetic thing where you cross your fingers together, both hands, of course, and then look at your hands that are crossed together and see which thumb is on top. The thumb that's on top is your preference, and that is genetic. You can check with your parents and see which one it matches, or if it doesn't match either, and in fact it matches your grandparents. Now, if you've never done this experiment, and you do currently have your hands clasped, and your thumbs are over each other, good for you. Now, reverse only your thumbs so that the other thumb is on top, and it will feel so weird and creepy. Yeah, it's a preference. So, they made it up, just like they did with Kavanaugh, but this time the dictionary chased along after it. And now, just like people of color is acceptable, but colored people isn't, because the word bully say so. And now, Merriam-Webster's is diving into the same process of saying, we'd like to be a word bully. Can we sign up and be a word bully? History lesson. Not the kind that Kamala Harris gives, where she just makes it up and it has nothing to do with anything. If you grew up in a time where you had paper dictionaries in your school, when you actually had schools, because now everything's online, depending if you're in a blue state or a red state. Anyway, in paper dictionaries, at the beginning of the book, how you have all those pages with all the little stuff on it that nobody ever reads? Well, if you ever did want to take the time to read it, you would see that it talked about how the state that you lived in had to approve that paper dictionary. Funk and Wagnall, the competitor to American Heritage, the competitor to Merriam, and the competitor to Webster. They were all independent dictionaries. Each one that went into the schools had to be approved, and it was documented in there, just like when you buy a Scholastic book, it says Scholastic inside of it. So the states had to approve it. Then, after your state approved it, the feds would approve it, and that was in there too. Approved by the federal government this year, approved by the state of, pick your state that you live in, this year. All that had to happen. And when that was true, we had, I guess you could say, word police. But at least the word police, it was documented. It was in hard copy. You couldn't change it overnight when somebody goes, "Ooh, look at that. Did you hear what Amy Coney Barrett? Oh, she's a conservative. Let's make what she said derogatory." But it's not. Don't matter. We can make it. All we can do is push this little button right here. And they did. You couldn't do that in the old days when it was print. You'd have to wait for your paper edition to come out. And let's face it, by the time the paper edition comes out, was it really worth changing one stupid word? And the answer was regularly no. But now it's online. And now you can use it to attack. Oh, let's see what else this says and see if it gets even dumber. It does, I've read it. But as of Wednesday, the fifth definition for preference included the word offensive when used to describe sexual orientation. And as Tim Pool pointed out when he went over this story too, well, the word orientation comes from the term orient, which, if you look it up, means Eastern. So you can't say Eastern people anymore, as in Oriental people anymore. So, as he pointed out, being half Korean, that's derogatory to me. Where does the lunacy end? The lunacy ends where it stops sufficing to punish conservatives. That's always where it ends. Our scheduled updates, which add new words and also add new definition usage guidance and example sentences to existing dictionary entries, take place several times per year. From time to time, we release one or some of these scheduled changes early. When a word or set of words, where's the comma? Anyways, the quotes in Fox News are just atrocious when they're on print. God, they never get them right. There's spelling errors and everything else. When a set of words is getting extra attention, and it would seem timely to share that update. Peter Sokolowski, MerriamWebster's editor-at-large, explained in a statement to Fox News. It gets better and scarier. In this case, we released the update for sexual preference when we noticed that the entries for preference and sexual preference were being consulted in connection with, here it comes, the Supreme Court of the United States hearings. That's right. Once they seen that a wacko, insane, ignorant, frightening senator from Hawaii was making it up, they said, well, we better help her. And we better help her fast. And let's just change it to fit her need. A revision was made in response to an entry's increased attention. Differs only in celerity. As always, all revisions reflect evidence of use. An evidence of use that didn't exist prior to 24 hours before and only was created by the buzz by the lying senator. These are the gatekeepers of the modern world, ladies and gentlemen. On Tuesday, Senator Matsi-Harano slammed her head into the table several times, explaining the brain damage. Oh no, that's not what it says. It should, though. On Tuesday, Senator Matsi-Harano slammed Barrett for saying she would not discriminate on the basis of sexual preference. Ooh, here it comes. Sexual preference is an offensive... No, it wasn't. Not 48 hours ago. An offensive and outdated term. No, it wasn't. And it's still the fifth definition that they added for you, so hardly outdated. It is used by anti-BLT GQ activists to suggest that sexual orientation is a choice. Again, we use the example without hands crossed. It's still a preference, whether it's genetic or not. And then she says, it's not, as she lied and made it up, just like she did with Kavanaugh, because that's who she is. Sexual orientation is a key part of a person's identity. How would she know? Is she a lesbian? Maybe she needs to take the test that she gave. Oh, that's interesting. That's what Rachel said to Deckard in Blade Runner. Anyways. Yeah, she goes, so tell me, Deckard, have you ever taken the test? Okay, so you get the idea. This is the horror we're living under, and if Biden wins, you can expect far, far more of this, because who's going to stop them? People of color is acceptable. Colored people is not. The car is blue is acceptable. The blue car is not. Sexual preference is acceptable. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. If you'd like more craziness like this to occur in the United States of America, you've got to vote for Biden. You've got to vote for Governor Newsom in California. You've got to vote for the first proud Cherokee American Indian in the Senate, Senator Warren. This is how you make it happen. And we'll see you in the future. And we'll have to wait until that becomes derogatory too, which apparently won't be long if MerriamWebster's gets a hold of this commentary. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the future.
Racist, sexist, all of them. Miriam said so.